you, Rabbi Gross. It's truly an honor. I'm very touched by your words. It is an honor to be standing alongside Ellie and Iris Borger, and you, my fellow honorees. You're all inspirations to all of us. You may remember me as the girl who wore a long braid every day. I had a little bit of awkward English in the beginning. Da'ni ein bata lahan talech. Know from where you came and where you are going. 1996. A young couple has recently moved into town with 3 small daughters at the time. My parents are newly observant, seeking a community and school where they can learn more. This is the second immigration of sorts for them. They had already gone through the move out of Ukraine and Russia in '79 as teenagers along with their parents. And now they are embarking on another journey, that of reclaiming their heritage. It was Rabbi Pesach Raymond Yeshiva which offered that first sense of community when my parents enrolled me there at the age of 5. I did have limited English thanks to my parents' insistence on a Russian-speaking culture poem. I have distinct memories from those very first days, answering Mrs. Dessau in tearful Russian because I don't know the right words in English. The frustration of being lost for words. I probably swore since then never to have that problem again. And her smiling at me patiently and walking me through the answer in English. And at the same time, somehow also picking up Hebrew, savoring those exotic syllables, learning how to say brachot, learning the stories of the Parsha, holiday songs. Began from kindergarten all the way through 8th grade. Educate a child, and you educate a family. My parents were already somewhat observant at the time, as much as they had learned through the scrambled attempts at cure programs for Soviet Jews in the 80s, and as much as their books could tell them. But what RPRY did for us is that it gave us an intelligently religious life. Along with our Shulavas Achem, the yeshiva articulated something that we knew intrinsically, passionately, but did not know how to say. It more than simply answered the what and the how, it answered why. It colored in the lines of what we imagined our tradition should be. And it was not just about the shamor of Shabbat, of Judaism, but about the zachor, a lifestyle of Torah and faith in all of its vibrance. A life of excited Friday afternoons rushing to set that table for Shabbat with my sisters. A life of Torah study instilling us with the thirst for more. A life of prayers facing eastward. RPRY's embrace, the warm welcome to us, the school's immersive culture. Nothing was more powerful for me and my sisters, Tina, Yetta, Millie. In that immersive culture, I was able to explore my love for languages, literature, writing. My teachers, Mrs. Schachter, I saw you, pushed me to read more, to write poetry, to submit stories to contests. My passions for Tanakh, for history, they emerged there too, alongside a strong sense of American patriotism. It was in Mrs. Bookbinder's 2nd grade class that I decided I wanted to be a writer and a journalist. And growing up listening to Rabbi Gross's inspiring stories, I dreamed of one day becoming a storyteller too. The teachers and administrators had a way of not just teaching Jewish history, but imparting responsibility to take part in making that history. And the magical way with which RPRY is able to instill a love for Israel into its students, I still don't know how you did it, but it runs in our very blood to this day. And the list of alumni who have made Aliyah and who have joined the IDF speaks more than anything. It was in that gym, in that Beit Midrash, that we were taught the ancient art of yearning. Every classroom had a title in Hebrew. Blue and white flags flew everywhere. Murals of the early pioneers, folk dances. Here we raised funds, and here we watched with wide eyes the Intifada erupt and unfold. Here we were quizzed on Israel's geography, fed a healthy diet of Israeli films and songs, speeches from Israeli visitors, soldiers, rabbis, educators. As a child, you could close your eyes and imagine you were walking down Emek Rephaim. And then imagining Jerusalem, we learned to pray and to sing. You have to understand, something as simple as a Hebrew song, a Shabbat Zemer, is not to be taken for granted. Then as a child, I did not think much of it, because in the moment, life was rarely dramatic. But now, I often reflect how these were all firsts. First of everything. First Hebrew song, first kosher kitchen, first Shabbat table in our family. And throughout these firsts, the yeshiva was there, offering the knowledge and the community we sought. As we grew, my great-grandparents and grandparents would ask us to sing for them in Hebrew. Now I realize just how monumental this was. This was the first time that children's voices are singing in Hebrew in my family in close to a century. Only a revolution, a world war, a Holocaust, a communist era, and an immigration story later. These week's Torah readings, we read about the construction of the Mishkan. Thank God, I have recently started a new chapter in life, building my own Mishkan math with my husband. Those excited Friday afternoons now find me setting a Shabbat table in my own home. 2015, 2 decades later, and that young Russian-speaking couple that's new to town, that's interested in learning more, that's thinking about sending their young daughter to a Jewish school, they are our Shabbat guests, sitting at our table. And there's an animated conversation going on in Russian over the meaning of faith, history, politics along this world. Every week, different families coming for a taste of Torah life. Because someone else once did this for me, and now it is on me to do it for others. I only hope I can pay this forward. Thank you to my parents for taking every brave step which led you here today. Thank you, Rabbi Pesach Ramin Yeshiva, and Rabbi Rose. Bless you for the work that you have done.